Hello, everyone. I am Samara, your trusted hairstylist and hair guide, and we are back for another episode of Hot Home Chronicles. Hot Home Chronicles is a wonderful hair conversation series that I have started in conjunction with my return to the salon. It is official, rooted in Dallas, is open. We are accepting appointments. Book your experience at rootedindallas.com, ROTDINDALLAS. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all those great social medias to keep up with the latest and greatest. But back to these hair conversations. I have loved connecting with my family and friends and really having some in-depth conversations with hair being the basis of it. We're still in the college edition, and I'm super excited about my guest today, one of my dear, dear friends. And this is going to be a different perspective that I'm really looking forward to because it is a male perspective. My friend Curt, we met during S.B.I, and we just instantly clicked, and we've been friends ever since. Definitely an adopted sibling. So without any further ado, let's get Curt to the stage, to the screen. My fellow brother, my fellow Spartan, welcome. Thank you for joining me this morning.
You're welcome. You're welcome. My pleasure to be here.
So just a little more of a background and introduction, and I'll let you give more of an insight of your background, your childhood, your growing up, and all that great stuff. But like I said, we met in S.B.I. Shout out to S.B.I. 95. We all hold S.B.I. very near and dear. Shout out Doc, shout out Vern, shout out Linda, shout out Eddie, everyone. Very much so a family-oriented group, and that is very evident at the fact that we are still here together today. Meeting Curt in S.B.I, one of the things that stands out for many of us, and how we're going to start this whole hair conversation, we had lots of skits in S.B.I every morning. We had to get real creative, and one of the most memorable skits of S.B.I 95 was when Curt did Twan from In Living Color. Tore the auditorium up. We all fell out laughing. Curt turns around. I think you borrowed somebody's earring. You tied up that good wife beater, and you turned around like, what's up? So our first memory of Curt is him playing the role of the hairstylist Twan from In Living Color. So that's where I want to start the conversation today, talking about men in the area of hair. So one, Curt, I know that's going back a while, but I think more so what I want to explore is your comfort level in doing that, because that's something that a lot of guys would not be comfortable doing. So speak on your comfort of being in that character in that area and talk a bit more about hair.
All right. You starting right off with the big guns. Yeah. If you know me, you know I'm very confident, right? Not in a cocky way, but I'm just very confident in who I am and what I represent. So my character, my personal character, I just like to entertain. I like to have a good time around people. I like to make people smile. I just like a general good vibe and a good time. So thinking back to doing Twan, I used to like doing things. I still like doing like karaoke and acting out, just being silly. So being able to actually showcase it in an audience like that was actually super fun. And when I'm gonna do it right. So I'm not gonna just half step. So I was as flamboyant as I could be with the shirt tied up and the earrings, and I came out fanning myself.
Yes.
And if you remember, I couldn't even start acting for like a minute because people was laughing so hard that I couldn't even say a line. I had to let the audience die down. And then when I dropped my first line, I did it in my Twan voice, calling out somebody. I still remember I was like, let's go. And when I did that, people started laughing again. I couldn't get to my second line for another 30 seconds. So I think it's just being confident in who you are and what you represent, then you're able to put yourself in different situations that are not necessarily you, and just do it to the fullest. So yeah, we had some good folks in that skit. You mentioned some people from SBI. I remember pulling Micah, rest in peace, Micah, rest in heaven, Micah, pulling her hair out in the thing, and because her perm burnt up. It was all kind of hilarious moments in that skit. And I still remember some of my one-liners too. Those one-liners really got people going. And I told Kevin, I said, yeah, I got a product for you. He was like, no, I don't want none of that. There was all kind of stuff going on there.
So was that, I mean, we all watched the TV shows back then because there weren't as much, and that was just our upbringing. So was it just the results of you watching In Living Color on a regular basis, or were you in the salon with your mom growing up? What was the total pull from that?
You know what's interesting is I never thought about that question like that. Part of it was personifying that character from In Living Color, but part of that comfort, the older woman that used to cut our hair was they were a same-sex couple, and so I used to have my hair cut in high school by a woman, and we used to go to their salon, and it was she's kind of like an auntie, and it was her partner at the time. And they used to have me come up and clean the shop. So I would come up there. Now, that used to be some fun times too, but just my comfort in being around, whomever and whatever your preferences are, I'm open. And growing up in California, we saw it all over the place well before, I think it was much more accepted versus the rest of the nation. And so I used to go up to that shop quite often and help clean up the floors or whatever there. So I would see the ladies and interact with a bunch of ladies and stuff. Actually, I just make that correlation with your shop. That's interesting.
That, like, I'm sitting here and everything's going off inside. I'm like, I never knew that, and that explains a lot. It explains a lot about your awareness. It explains a lot about your comfort level. So, what are some things that shaped you from being in that salon atmosphere that you think you wouldn't have got if you weren't in that on a regular?
I would say on a serious note, it is developing that comfort of being around, seeing things that are maybe uncommon or starting to become common that are just different from the quote unquote norm. You just being very accepting. I can be accepting of your views. Like, I don't have to agree with your views politically. I don't have to agree with your views religiously, sexually, whatever it might be. I don't have to agree with your views, but the merits of your character is what's going to drive whether we connect or not. We could argue. We could argue about something, disagree. Well, I don't say argue. I would say disagree. I don't really argue with folks. We could have a disagreement on topic and not see the same, and then afterwards go grab a drink or something together, because that doesn't affect the merit of your character. We just disagree on that topic. And I think being around that environment and seeing all those differences just further develop my comfort in that area. Now, I will say, on the fun side, being in the shop all the time, and at that time I was still playing football. It was always a bunch of women in the shop, so I used to love going up there because they'd be like, "Oh, look at things, look at if you was a little older and this and that." And so I used their shop to pull some ladies' numbers, so that was nice in high school. Actually, you write them down on a piece of paper or in the black book. We ain't had the phones and stuff like that, but and I think that transitioned to college to your shop for me.
I know. I'm like, so you were like, bet I just found me another salon to hang at.
Yeah, I didn't make that correlation until we just talked today, just now. Wow. I didn't even make that correlation.
Wow, I love this stuff. So, explain your experience, or give us some insight of your experience of Friday at Sam's, because you didn't get your hair cut. You kept it low like that. I mean, we were hanging out anyway, but how did you come to be one of the guests at Sam's on Friday, even though you weren't getting your hair cut?
So I like to be where the action's at. And I was just thinking about this kind of a little bit before, like, I wasn't getting my hair cut, but I sure was over there quite a bit. I said, I know why I was over there. So when I think about it, I feel like I said, I feel like your going to your spot on a Friday was like an appetizer to the weekend. Because I could go over there and actually, for the record, one, I'm bald by choice, y'all. So y'all watching the video, I'm bald by choice. I can have an afro. But you did line this up for me a couple times. You did do that. But going over there, I knew it's gonna be good conversation. It's gonna be some fun, and it's gonna be some jokes. We might get into a serious conversation, and it's just going. But I knew on Friday, like once classes was over, if I didn't have no classes and it was gonna be a nice weekend, that was a good place to go get things started. And who knows, I might see somebody new up in there. I ain't gonna lie. But one thing about your spot, Sam, when I think about it, it was as much as the fun aspect of it was for me and going over there, like I said, not going over there with no intention to get a haircut, although I did send some people over there.
Yes.
It's still, I don't want to say it felt like a shop because it was a shop. If I say it felt like a shop, to me, that downplays what you did and what you brought to that place. You had a shop going on. You went in there, you got people sitting there, whether some people getting the hair dried and they reading something, or people sitting there chatting, and you got two people working on something over here, and you still have room for me to come in there and sit and find me a place to flirt or do whatever I'm gonna do. But you had a real shop. I mean, that was a real shop. It's authentic. It was authentic in what you were doing there. It wasn't just a side hustle. You created a shop in Spartan Village. And that doesn't surprise me that has transitioned to all the things that you have done, because when you do it, you put your heart into it. And you did that even in Spartan Village, where people just trying to hustle. I remember some cats was cutting hair. You go over there, it was sloppy. The room is jacked up with this. You go over your spot, you got the hair products, you got the cleaning product, you got everything there. It was a shop come Friday. And so, it was that's my memories of going over there. I went over there with the purpose of kicking my weekends off, maybe getting a lineup.
That's very accurate. Very, very accurate. And I think I would go out. I wouldn't. We enjoyed you being there. You were someone. Well, everybody was good to be there, but people look forward to Curt being there because you just bring that energy, that vibe. So thank you for coming by, even if you weren't getting your hair done. Thank you for sending people. I'm not going to thank you for, on a couple occasions, almost get me in trouble. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, at a couple of parties in college, Curt, very not discreet, would point out ladies at the party and be like, "Oh, Sam, you can make a whole lot of money in here tonight. Ooh, that one, that. Ooh, you can make a lot." I'm like, Curt. No, you won't give me like jump in here. No. So yeah, Curt would point out ladies very loudly who needed their hair done at parties. So yeah, hilarious, but putting a bit of a mark on me.
And them B2Bs was everywhere. They
were. It was horrible.
People thought they was coming up there like that. I'm like, Sam, you got to do something with her. She needs your help. And somebody called 911 because she needs help. And yeah, I've been known to say things a little louder than I should when I get to talking about people.
You weren't shy about pointing out who needed a little help. Not at all. Not at all. So Curt definitely supported my hair endeavors and wanted to make sure my chair was full. So, getting into another aspect of hair that I don't think we've ever talked about this. What is your experience with having a daughter? And then y'all have daughter and son, and I'm sure son has, hair stuff, but hair is more crucial with girls. So speak a little bit about your experience of hair with kids, more so with baby girl. Like, when she was small, did you do her hair, or were you like, "Ooh, no, Tammy got this"? Talk to us a bit about
pretty
that.
much let the hair. I pretty much let Tammy do the hair. I might play around with it and do some little simple styles every now and again if Tammy was gone. But for the most part, the wifey did the hair. The experience with the hair, I think, is kind of interesting because when I think about my daughter and her hair, I would have told you that I don't see that she cares that much about the hair because she's always worn it in these two Afro puffs. If you look at her pictures on Facebook for basketball, for track, they always in these big, almost Mickey Mouse looking Afro puffs or whatever. And I used to be like, you don't want to get your hair permed or nothing like that. And I guess they had one bad experience. And so they never really put the chemicals back in her hair since then. And it wasn't until I think like last year, she was doing her signature puffs and they weren't coming out right. And she about had a fit. And I'm looking like, they just little puffs. I didn't even realize she cared about them puffs like that. But that was her. That's how she liked her hair. And what I come to realize is that's part of her brand. And what I mean by that is, as you know, she plays sports and she's very good. She does varsity track and varsity basketball to help take the team to regionals, won the district championship. She also runs track. We were at a track meet and a young lady comes up to her and was like, Michaela had her hair, I think like in a ponytail or it was not in her signature puffs. And the young lady comes up, she was like, you play basketball. And she was like, oh yeah, I do. She said, but your hair is normally in these puffs. I'm looking like, this girl took the time out not only to come congratulate her or acknowledge that she knew who she was, but she said, you're looking different because she didn't have these puffs. I'm like, wow, these puffs is a big deal. And you know what it just goes to show is everybody don't have to have their hair super fancy and everything. She doesn't have to have her hair super fancy, but her hair is part of her, like I said, part of her brand, part of who she is. And when she has it done, she wants it right. And I just thought it wasn't important, but I just misinterpreted her style was important. It's just it wasn't the fancy styles that I'm used to everybody else seeing and all these other young ladies wearing.
Wow, that's awesome. So, how old was she when she kind of had that freak out when you first noticed?
She's 17 now. It was either 16 or 17.
Okay.
This is a junior in high school. Oh, it was her junior year, so it was sometime while she was 16, turning 17 or something like that. But yeah, so it's always been her style. It's just I never knew it was that important. I just thought she didn't care. I totally misunderstood that for years.
That's an interesting thing to notice. As you were telling that story, I just keep picturing Juju.
Yep.
Everybody knows Juju by her bun that her mom does for her before every game, by the way. I don't know if you saw that documentary. I think that's so sweet. But yeah, her mom does her bun. So when did she start doing her own hair? What age?
I think she started. Tammy kind of had her start doing it. It was probably honestly 10th grade. Tammy used to do her hair pretty much all the time because she struggled to get the hair right. Like there'd be so much hair still hanging out. I think her junior year is when she really started doing it on her own, and now she pretty much does it all the time. But even at 17, right now, I think I'll be honest. I think it was within the last 30 days she had another a hair meltdown. Like it was not laying right, and she was upset. I can't remember where she was going, and Tammy went in there and helped her out or whatever. So you just see how important hair is to these kids and their appearance, and it also goes to show the differences. I think when I think back to when we were younger, the girls had all kind of hairstyles and stuff, so you knew their hair was done and dudes too. I think dudes, everything was neat. I think nowadays hairstyles don't necessarily look neat, but people consider them styles, right?
Yeah.
And now with the social media, you're caught. Your picture can be caught and immortalized forever on the internet. So I think these kids have even a higher awareness of it, even though when I look at it, I think it looks sloppy sometimes. they don't. That's their character. That may be their brand, and they want to make sure they're looking the way they're supposed to look. Because what I started noticing is some of the fellas with styles that I wouldn't call a style, they're lined up. It's just this is all over the place. So it just goes to show you like the differences in perception, and these kids do take their brand seriously. I think
Yeah.
nowadays, in terms of their image and stuff, we may not approve of their image, but they do take it seriously.
Yeah. Funny because I love that look that guys are wearing with it everywhere. Because I'm like, do your thing. Don't fit into no box. Don't want to be cookie cutter, but they'll line it up. And that one lets you know it's intentional. And that's the caring part. And Natalie spoke of that. I don't know if you watched that How Come Chronicles conversation, but she spoke on how their male students are just as concerned about their hair as their female students. And they know if that hoodie is on, he probably not feeling right because he don't have a fresh edge up or whatever the case may be. So you're definitely seeing guys taking a little more care and concern about the hair, or I don't say they're just as well, not just as they're concerned about their hair, like girls too, just like you said. So in that same sense, what is hair? Is it real routine, or you kind of have to make them, or how's that?
So Kal-El, he is 12, but look like he about 20. So remember, my son is 12, but he's 5'10". So he looked like a grown man. And he, at times, I feel like he don't care about his hair, like, because he just want to get up and get on the video game. He just want to get up and do what he's doing. But it's funny now that one of the barbers gave him one of his personal picks and different things like that. Now this boy be going around picking his hair out, making sure his hair looks straight. I don't have to fight with him to go get lined up. He's like, yeah, let's go and go. Aren't we going at such a time? So I'm seeing the shift. He's not all the way shifted over yet, but I think it's going to happen for him pretty quickly because the older girls are starting to note, are not starting. They notice him because they think he's much older than he is, but because of his height, and then he's got this deep voice. So they're like, how old are you? 12. And ain't no way he's 12 and that tall. So I think that progression is starting to move where he's starting to care about his appearance. He's using my colognes now. He's wearing trying to wear some of my stuff. When he's got something nice to go to, he wants to come grab one of my polos. So he likes to grab my work polos or one of my and wear them to his events. So I think that change is happening, and I think a lot's going to happen over this next year. And I think at that point, I ain't going to have to ask him, does he need a haircut? He's going to be like, Dad, I need to go get lined up. Or can you line me up real quick? So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, he's there. He's there. Does he line himself up at all? Is he comfortable with the clippers?
I think he did try to do something one time, and I had to fix it. Boy, it was terrible. He went in there and did some snips, and it was not even. I'm like, I ain't no barber, but I can make this better than this. So, right. And I don't know what possessed him to even go do it. I think he was just bored. I honestly think he was just bored. I don't even think it was that he was trying to look different. He was just trying to do something. I did that one time when I was a little kid. My dad had those old clippers that they were like a manual clipper. I don't know how to explain it. It was like you had to you squeeze them and then it would cut. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't think I've ever saw those in person.
Yeah, it almost like I'm trying to remember this. I was probably 10 years old when I did this. So, but it was like these clippers you would do like this and they would cut. And I was like, and my dad was like, well, you look like you got the tetanus. And he cut all my hair off. So,
wow.
Oh boy.
Do most guys have a period when they're growing up where they attempt to cut their hair and eventually cut a plug out or something of that nature? Is that kind of common? Because now that I'm thinking about that, like, yeah, I know a lot of guys who at some point got a hold of them clippers when they were younger and was like, oops.
Because it just seemed like something you could do. That's the thing about hair, right? It looks like it's easy to do. And I think people, especially from a guy perspective, you can take that for granted. and you looking like, I ain't got to be paying nobody to do this. I can do this myself. And next thing you know, your goatee leaning to the left. Your line is up like this. I mean, hairstylists and barbers, you are artists. You are artists, you're professionals in your craft. And there's a reason you get paid to do what you do. And I think, there's a time definitely for dudes where we look at it like, man, I can just line myself up. I can do this real quick. And at times you do learn to do it. But there's that period of time when you first try to do it, like, oh, this was not as easy as I thought it was. And no matter how much I cut, this side thicker than this side leaning here, this part up high, this part low. So now so then I started doing, I'm like, okay, you cut it. I'll try to maintain it for a little bit, but I still gonna get it professionally done maybe every 2 times.
Right. So did you go through a period where you cut your own hair?
Honestly, well, remember since I stayed bald, I did that myself all the way through college. Did I cut my own hair? A couple times, but it was more so like I might just line it up when it was going to be low and even all over. But I never really tried to fade my hair or anything like that. Now, I did do my little brothers, and some of them turned out great. Some of them didn't turn out so great, because I remember I would put signs in his head. So I put a Nike in his head one time, right? And he got so many compliments. It's like, oh, my friends want to cut and this, and that. So I was all excited. I put the Nike on there. I did it like twice. And then maybe the next cut, I did something. And he came home. He was upset. He said, they said I got a Timmy. So that cut didn't work out so well. He was in tears. They said I got a Timmy.
Look, sorry. We be trying to take care of the little brothers. Our bad. Oh
yeah, he was upset about that Timmy. I didn't even know what that meant. I didn't even know what that meant.
So what made you shave your head bald?
Now that's interesting. It started off, I think the first time I ever shaved my head bald was in high school when we went to the playoffs, and the team said we was going to shave our heads if we went to the playoffs. And so I shaved it then. Then when the first school I went to, the football, I was at the Naval Academy briefly, and there they shave your head when you go to we shaved everything off. We went to boot camp, and I just had my stuff kind of shaved off. So then when I left there, a lot of the dark-skinned bald athletes or people, public figures that the women liked were dark-skinned. They were bald, typically with goatee. You had your Aaron Halls back in the day. You had your Art Kellys back in the day. You had all these artists where, dark skin was popping. Still is, but dark skin was popping. But it was that bald goatee look, Joe and all of them. And so I had those features. So I would cut, and folks ate it up. So I'm like, you mean to tell me? And haircuts was, starting to be expensive to me, because I remember when my dad would take me, they was like $12. Now they're like 20-something bucks. And now I take my son, it's like $35 to get a cut. So, going through college, this was cheap. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah. I could freshen myself up every day. If something unexpected came up, Sam, somebody I done met at your place, like, hey, you want to go out, go over to Sean, eat? Oh yeah. So I get that real cleaned up real quick, and I can do that in 5-10 minutes. I ain't got to get no appointment or nothing like that. So the one thing I liked about being bald and doing my hair myself, one, you saved a lot of money, and I could clean myself up quickly on a drop of a dime if I needed to do something or I wanted to do something, versus, just happen to wait that next week or whatever for the hair. And since my hair grows fast, that also works good, because my hair grows really, really fast. And so when I would get a haircut, I get a haircut on Friday, my hair doesn't look the same come Tuesday. That's to this day. That's like now.
Wow. So that's a great thing.
Let's say
a lot of guys wish they were in your position with that one, boy.
Oh, buddy. So a couple of my frat brothers, when they saw me, the first time they saw me with the hair, they was like, I thought you was bald for real. It's like, you've been bald by choice. And my one dude, he said, you must have went down to Atlanta and got you a man weave. He said, he was like, you got to tell us where you got your man weave from. And he says that to this day. He's like, I don't know if Kirk gonna show up with his man weave. I don't know if he's going back to normal. I'd be like, boy, if y'all don't stop.